About 5 years ago, a really kick-ass game came out that went tragically overlooked. Now, if you're one of the many that still haven't played it, we're hoping maybe this will convince you to give the game a shot. Let's take a full tour of a game that we think deserved more than what it got, Sony's The Mark of Cree.
Every now and again, a game comes out that doesn't really get the attention it deserves. So listen up, as we bring you a title that went under the radar. The Mark of Cree was hyped to just about everybody on the face of the earth, except the common gamer. Thus, the game went largely unnoticed. It also probably didn't help much that the hardcore gamers saw the cartoony cover and kept moving in search of more violent action titles. Well, they missed out. After ridding your village of some unpleasant thugs and brigands using nearby temple ruins for their hideout, you return home to find a strange old man who changes your life forever. You are Rao, a hulking, barrel-chested barbarian who has just stepped into true manhood and ready for his first adventure. Your journey sends you to find and destroy the Mark of Cree, said to unleash unspeakable horrors upon the earth. Assisting you in your journey is Kuzo, your raven. By sending Kuzo ahead to specific spots on the terrain, you can look through his eyes and see enemies around corners, hidden collectibles, or maybe a solution to a puzzle. You can also use him to help you drop ladders and hit levers, allowing Rao to proceed where he otherwise wouldn't have been able. The story takes place in an Aztec, Polynesian-inspired country rife with common bandits and mystical evils. You'll visit lush forests, snow-capped mountains, enemy fortresses, and more. All of which are beautifully drawn. Oh, that's right. Everything in the game is hand-drawn. The art design takes its inspiration from Disney and Don Bluth films and looks great. Don't let that throw you off. By looking at the box art, you wouldn't think this to be a mature-rated game, but you would be very, very wrong. Mark of Cree was gratuitously brutal before it became standard fare for action-adventure games to be so. The gameplay combines two elements that, at the time of its 2002 summer release, hadn't really been successfully mixed before: hardcore combat and stealth tactics. The combat was particularly innovative, as it focused less on single combat and more on how many guys can Rao slaughter at once combat. What Sony did to facilitate this was to create a new targeting system that utilized the right analog stick. By moving the stick around, an orangish beam of targeting glory shoots out of Rao's chest and selects enemies with a wave of your thumb. Initially, you can target up to 3 enemies at a time, each assigned to an attack button. By pressing one of those buttons, Rao will then attack the corresponding enemy. This makes for some pretty awesome combos and really fluid fighting. You begin the game with your trusty sword, but as you progress through the story, Rao will come across new weapons like the Tai-Ha, the bow and arrow, and the big, ridiculous axe. These enable him to target up to a whopping 9 enemies at once. Does the carnage ever stop? Yes. Yes, it does. Sometimes being a big dumb brute isn't the best way to go. Here's where we find out just how sneaky an 800-pound gorilla can be. By creeping up behind an enemy, you can catch him unawares and proceed to do horribly bloody things to him. Whew. Disney, this ain't. And while this is very, very satisfying, it does get old after a while. There's only a handful of stealth kill animations, and once you've seen them all a few times, the glory tends to wane a little bit. The stealth is done adequately, but it's nothing to write home about. The bottom line is this: Mark of Cree is a great game. What it does well, it does really well, and the rest is certainly on par. If you've got the $10 for a used copy, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better adventure.